Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson. That's Nathan Fox. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Anonymous.
It's anonymous, period. Anonymous. Full stop.
Period. Full
Hi.
stop.
I watched your podcast. Hi. I watched your podcast episode, GPA Addendums Are Dangerous, episode 851. However, what if our reasoning for an addendum is non-medical related? My grades during my freshman year of undergrad were significantly worse than the rest of my years of attendance at my school. This was due to the recent divorce of my parents and the loss of multiple family members. I was wondering if it would be a good idea to mention this in my application. Thanks for your help. Anonymous. I love this question because I do think that there is a significant peril here for Anonymous. I think that there's a right way to do this addendum, and I think that there's a wrong way to do this addendum. What do you think?
Oh, I totally agree. Our right paths might be different. My path would be to avoid this entirely and simply say that my last 3 years had X GPA.
Yeah. That's the right path. That's the right path.
Oh, so we agree on that. Yeah. I feel like there's too many landmines here. And that is one thing to keep in mind, Anonymous. It sounds like you went through a shit period.
Yep.
And that sucks. And I don't mean to diminish that in any way, but everyone goes through shit periods.
Yeah.
And some people maintain their GPA, others don't. And you can't. You just have to get ready for a life of being a lawyer, which means when shit is happening outside of your career, you're still there for your clients. You're still making things happen. So generally speaking, you just don't want to make excuses.
Yeah. So 100%. I think that the correct path here, Anonymous, I think, yeah, sure, write an addendum because you have an opportunity to say, my GPA, my last 3 years of undergrad was a 3.9. That's it. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Don't refocus on the freshman year. Don't say my freshman year GPA was 2.0. Don't say that because now they're going to anchor on the 2.0. So instead, just say, here's my GPA, my last 3 years. That's it.
Yep.
And then what good is that going to be? Almost none. But if they're comparing you to another applicant who has the exact same numbers, they might go, oh, but look, the last 3 years, this GPA was actually higher.
Yep.
And that might be the thing to tip the scales in your favor against somebody else. But it's a 1 or 2 sentence addendum. And the way that this can go really wrong is by offering these excuses. Everybody has stories like this. Okay. I'm sorry your parents got divorced. Apparently, divorce of your parents when you're in like high school or college is the worst time that can happen. And so I get it that was like a real rough year for you. Totally get it. But you telling me about it as a law school admissions person is just in no way helping your case. All you're doing is you're calling my attention to the fact that you had real bad grades your freshman year. And then in my head, I go, well, what if some other shit happens during the 1L year?
Exactly.
What about all these 1Ls that I always see crying on campus? What about the dean of students calling a meeting about the mental health crisis that we're having on our campus because so many 1Ls are using our campus mental health services because it's so stressful, it's so taxing to be a 1L.
Mm-hmm.
You're pointing attention to the fact that you had a bad freshman year as they're making the decision whether they want to welcome you on campus as a 1L. Not only that, but it's the and in the explanation that makes me really like, that's where I really just, it's like, I want to believe you, but as a skeptical reader, when you make 2 excuses, it's like they cancel each other out.
I also got a little nervous with the word multiple.
And that. Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, so what was it? Like, was it
2?
Well, I mean, it could have been a tragic accident, or it could have been a bad time in your family where multiple people were dying. And like, okay, that's all. That sucks. But we don't need to hear about that. We need you to be selling yourself as someone who's going to come to this school and really kick ass.
Yep.
So, get an LSAT that makes them excited. If you want to write this very short addendum that simply says, my GPA my last 3 years was this number, say the higher number and just submit it. But the second you start making excuses, especially multiple excuses, it just makes you look like somebody who makes excuses because you are, in fact, making excuses. Anything more for Anonymous?
No. Good luck. Email
I
Dave.
am convinced that these optional essays are there as like just an invitation to like, let's see if people will do dumb shit in their application.
Yeah. And reveal.
Yeah. Just like kind of like tell on themselves. Right. If, and it's just like the opportunity to start making excuses for yourself. That's not something that they want ultimately. They want somebody who achieves and who takes ownership over their own success.
Totally. I could be wrong, but I feel like I learned the term vomit information from the intelligence community. I think it's an intelligence community term. Of course,
Yeah.
anyone can use it.
Yeah.
But the idea is you start talking, you just start, from their perspective, you're just vomiting all sorts of helpful information to them, not helpful for you.
Yeah, what they say is, I've listened to some podcasts with spies and stuff, and what I remember them saying is, when you're talking, you feel like you're controlling the conversation. But the truth is, the person who's asking the questions is the person who's controlling the conversation. So if you're sitting there only saying 5% of the words, and the other person is 95% just dominating, holding court, explaining this and that and the other thing, all you're doing is just giving them all this information that is, you think it's all in your favor, but other people are perceiving that information quite differently. I'm glad you wrote in, Anonymous.
Yeah, email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.